What's up, Raiders? Bionic here, and welcome to today's video, where we are going to talk about the Dragon. That's right, we have the ongoing tournament right now for the Fusion of Group Top. I do not need this guy, okay, so I'm not really doing the tournament. I'm saving my energy for the champion training event. But I still wanted to test out my new build, and that is what I'm going to show you guys today, because we just had the All Rares Dragon tournament, which I have a working build for level 17, not strong enough for level 20 yet. But here's the build that I'm currently trying out on level 20 for speed, right? So it's been a while since I redesigned my teams. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. It's all been proven that Seer is really effective, especially at clearing the waves. You combine her with a Mausoleum Mage, even better with a Bad-el-Kazar, and you've got yourself a pretty decent team. Of course, if you don't have a Prince Kymar, then you're going to use Renegade, and I'll tell you guys why I'm then using Rhazin. So what I want to do is talk about the speeds of my champions, all right? In order for this to be really fast and be like close to about a minute, what you need to have is basically almost all your champions above 200 speed, okay? And they would all need to go before the Seer, especially the Bad-el-Kazar and the Mausoleum Mage. I did it differently. Why? Because I used my Bad-el-Kazar in the clan boss, okay? And for me to boost that speed all the way above 200, then it screws up my rotation in the clan boss. And because I do that, same thing with my Rhazin, I don't want to do that. Instead, what I've done is made it in a way so that only the Seer is really fast, okay? So I'll explain what's going on as the run goes. Let me not put it on auto for a second. So basically, because she is going first, Seer, she's not going to do her karma burn because she's not going to have the increased crit rate, which I believe she ends up doing first when the Mausoleum goes before her. So instead here, we're going to have this happen, okay? So she's going to use her crit rate. I'm going to get the weaken across the board, almost. It's supposed to, basically. And then we're going to get the buff from the Mausoleum Mage. Here, the Rosin is going to do his decreased turn meter, which we don't really need. And then we're going to get that skill from the Bad-el-Kazar for the extra buffs, okay? But also notice that right here, I do not have decreased defense. So I've set up the damage from my Seer or her gear in a way that I typically do not need it. Okay, there you see it. I can still take them all out. Of course, this requires the Bad-el-Kazar and having the poison debuffs on them, all right? Also, you will now have noticed, that the Renegade did not even take a turn yet. And that's normal. I do not want to have to make her very speedy as well, and I'll show you guys her gear after. But let's see what happens in the second round, where it's a little bit more problematic, because if the Seer takes too many extra turns, then it becomes a problem. But right here, okay, we got the reduced cooldown, which we only really need at this part, and then we're going to get the Seer to do her karma burn. Just not quite enough damage right there, okay? It should have been maybe a little bit more. I think I just need to tweak her crit damage for it to be a little bit better. But overall, you can see that it's typically still about 15, maybe 20 seconds top per wave, okay? And then I'm on the boss, basically. The boss is a little bit of a hit or miss. If the Seer took too many extra turns, then they become out of sync. And I don't get my Rosin to do the, the sheer ability, basically, where I'm going to get my decreased defense and the weaken before she does her first karma burn. Also, I lost a Renegade. That's typically what ends up happening if you build her really slow. She's just there to soak up a couple of hits from the Hordens if she doesn't make it past the second round. And once I get to the boss, I only need really one of her skills to reduce the cooldowns if it happens. If it doesn't, it's going to be a slightly longer run. But in the end, it's still not that bad. See there, I didn't have my decreased defense from the Rosin, so it took a little bit more time, okay? But I can tell you, when everything lines up, it's still about a minute and a half run, okay? Which is interesting because my All Rares run on the stage 17 is also a minute and a half, all right? So this is going to be effective to some degree, but also in other dungeons. So the whole point of fine-tuning all of these champions that I'll be able to reuse them elsewhere, okay? So now we're going to do another run, on full auto, see how it goes, and then I'm going to show you guys the gear. Alright, Seer goes first, then the Mausoleum Mage, we've got the Rhazin, then the Bad-el-Kazar, boom, AoE done. Here we go. Hoping for no extra turn here from the Seer. Kind of weird, but that's what you want. Right there she goes, then we get the decreased cooldown, then we get all the buffs applied. The only problem here, I think the Bad-el-Kazar See, he didn't go yet. He was supposed to go right before her, so my speed is just a little bit off still, okay? That means I need to increase his just a little bit, but they were very, very close. And this has to do with the fact that they're all at somewhat different speeds, which means their turn meters, even though they're close, they end up being just a little bit off. Like it's weird to explain, but like it's literally probably 2 or 3 speed more than I would need on my Bad-el-Kazar, but I don't want to do that right now to screw up my clan boss. But anyway, you kind of see what was going on. I would have one-shotted the second wave as well, so it's almost there. Like I said, it's a work in progress, and I wanted to show you guys anyway because this is now the build that I use when I'm doing Dragon 20. Right there, again, did we miss the shear? Okay, there it is. But it happened after she did her first karma burn. The Renegade's still up. She might go down here. No. Did we get the cooldown reduction? I wasn't paying attention. Maybe we'll get it in a second. Then the hit. That's useless. There it is. And then, okay. So decent hit. So a little bit longer, but usually when everything lines up, like I said, it's just under a minute 30 seconds, which is all right. Like I said, I'm not trying to do the fastest. I'm trying to make it so that my champions are well tuned for every aspect of the game, not just dedicating like very speedy champions for specifically the Dragon's dungeon, right? So there you have it, about a minute 40 seconds. It could be better, but overall this is what it's looking like for the time being. Okay, so now let's look at these champions. What kind of gear do they have? My Rosin is currently a work in progress. I shifted some gear around just now because I'm using Bad-el-Kazar in my clan boss, and I'm using him in lead. Yeah, I'm trying it out. It is working out so far, but the reason I'm doing this is because on defense type champions, where you would typically have a defense chest and a defense percent gloves, I'm going for crit damage, okay? I do have to use speed on Rosin because he's very slow to start with, but if you have a decent defense amulet, ring and amulet, and then of course an accuracy banner, you can still get some decent numbers, okay? So if I were to have a 6-star chest, if I were to have a 6-star amulet, and if I were to max out my Great Hall, I think I'd be just about at 4,000 defense, right? I could get better stats all around, okay, on the rest of my gear, but overall for now, this is what I want with roughly the right speed. I've also been told, and this is why I did that today, is that if you're above 180 speed, he's not going to use his, what's this called? The bog down skill against the clan boss. So I'm eager to see how that's going to work. Anyway, so I got to max this out here, right, to get more crit damage, and I'm going to have a respectable, probably close to what, 140, something like that, which will be decent. But with this 79% and the aura from the Bad-el-Kazar, that means I have a 100% crit rate, okay? So hopefully I get more damage on the clan boss. Accuracy is also quite low. I need to work on that, I know, but like I said, I'm trying out a couple of things. Bad-el-Kazar, currently all in stalwart, +2 speeds, also built for the clan boss, working out very well so far. Literally just waiting for the next artifact enhancement event for me to finish all of this gear, okay? So total stats is alright, like defense is actually quite low, but it's going to increase a little bit more, and then I'm going to work on that Great Hall anyway because it's going to do Bad-el and Rosin at the same time. Accuracy is pretty good. His skills are obviously all done, and masteries here are what I use for now. The Rosin, here's his masteries. All of his skills are also done. Okay, so now moving on to the Seer. This is where the magic happens. It took me a very long time to do this gear, to make it, and the reason why she is so fast is because I also sometimes use her in the arena. Yep, because she removes buffs. So overall, if you do not have anything else and you're going against a really tanky team for whatever reason that have a lot of buffs to start with, you can actually use a Seer. So I want her to be fast. Why? Because then she's going to open up with this skill on auto, and then she's going to follow up with this skill. Okay, so if you have an up CC, this is going to eat away at all their shields. It's really good. I like having her built this way, full speed. It might be a little bit too much, but so far I'm trying to make it work with this in the dungeons as well, okay? So just enough crit rate with the Bad-el-Kazar, literally on the 100, and then 258% crit damage. I'm thinking maybe an extra 10 would be just about right for the amount of buffs and debuffs that that I'm using against the dungeons, right? In the dungeons. All her skills are also done. Here are her masteries. Then we've got the Mausoleum Mage, which makes everything possible for Seer. Really good champion. This guy, I also want him to be fast, but not faster than my Seer. The rest of the stats we don't care that much for. I built him with a lot of resistance in case I decide to use him in the arena, okay? Gear's not even done, but I don't care that much right now because it's working. All of his skills are obviously done. This is really important. You need to reduce this cooldown if you want this to work effectively in the dungeons. And then here are the masteries that I am using for now. So that was the Bad-el-Kazar, the Rosin, then we had the Seer, the Mausoleum Mage, and finally the Renegade, which is right here. Let's pull her out. So my Renegade is basically almost naked. The only thing you want out of her, not even masteries, skills also don't matter except for this one right here, you want to reduce the cooldown, is the extra buff, okay, so the shield, and then just a little bit of survivability so that she can take a hit or two. And very, very, very slow. Why? Because you don't want her, the way that I built her, okay, you do not want her to go in the first round. You literally just want her to go at the end in the second round when it counts. This is hurting me in the long run because against then the dragon I would have more cooldown reduction with this skill. But right now, like I said, for my slow-tuned Seer build, if we could call it that, this is how I'm using her, okay? So relatively slow, and I think I've got HP chest, right? HP gloves for a little bit more of the shield HP here. Overall, it's a decent shield set, right? But these are the pieces that I were not using, and I think I've got some flat defense boots. Yeah, I know, but it's actually really good early on in a character or a champion that does not have a lot of defense to start with, especially if they're still only level 50, okay? So it can work, and in this case, I'm not looking for speed. Actually, I am, but you can play around with this. I tried literally no speed, then it was off by a little bit, then I increased by one, and then by one more until I found what seems to be the sweet spot, except for, like I said, round 2, where my Bad-el-Kazar seems to be just a little bit too slow, okay? So I gotta work with that, or maybe it's about reducing the speed a little bit on my Seer for it to work perfectly. But anyway, I'm almost there. This is what I'm doing right now. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. I've seen plenty of other Seer builds out there. That's not what I'm trying to showcase today. It's just a different take on a relatively slower Seer build for Dragon 20. Okay, that's it guys. Thank you so much. As always, I will catch you later.